Here we will learn about the structure and function of the pharynx and esophagus and their role in the digestive system. This drawing shows the parts of the pharynx. Food passes from the mouth into the oropharynx and then into the laryngopharynx. The pharynx has a lining of stratified squamous epithelium with mucus-producing glands. The external muscle layers consist of 2 layers of skeletal muscle. The inner layer runs longitudinally. The outer pharyngeal constrictor muscles encircle the wall of the pharynx. In the following, we will see the location and structure of the esophagus. The esophagus is a flat muscular tube that runs from the laryngopharynx to the stomach. When it is not involved in food propulsion, it collapses. The esophagus pierces the diaphragm at the esophageal hiatus and joins the stomach at the cardial orifice. The upper esophageal sphincter controls food movement from the pharynx to the esophagus. The lower esophageal, gastroesophageal sphincter controls food movement from the esophagus to the stomach. The cardia is the portion of the stomach surrounding the cardioesophageal junction, or cardiac orifice, which is the esophagus opening into the stomach. Here, we see the microscopic structure of the esophagus. Unlike the mouth and pharynx, the esophagus has all 4 alimentary canal layers. First, on the internal side adjacent to the lumen, the esophageal mucosa contains stratified squamous epithelium, which changes to simple columnar epithelium at the stomach. The submucosa consists of areolar connective tissue and surrounds the esophageal mucosa. The esophageal glands in the submucosa secrete mucus to aid in bolus movement. The third layer is the muscularis externa, which consists of a circular and a longitudinal layer. We find skeletal muscles superiorly to the esophagus, mixed skeletal and smooth muscle in the middle, and smooth muscle inferiorly. As a fourth layer, the esophagus has no distinct outer serosal layer. However, it is covered by the adventitia, a layer of fibrous connective tissue that adheres to adjacent structures, but also allows a degree of mobility. To reiterate, a structure with a serosa is a structure that is lined by visceral peritoneum in contrast to a structure with an adventitia that is not lined by visceral peritoneum, but instead is surrounded by connective tissue. Connecting to it, at the esophagus-stomach junction, the stratified squamous epithelium of the mucosa changes to simple columnar epithelium of the stomach. The process of swallowing, also known as deglutition, can be broken down into several phases, 2 of which are the buccal and pharyngoesophageal phases. The buccal phase is voluntarily controlled. Preparation. This phase begins with the voluntary act of chewing, where food is mixed with saliva, forming a bolus. The tongue then pushes the bolus against the hard palate, moving it toward the posterior part of the mouth, signaling the initiation of the swallowing process. The tongue's upward and backward movement against the roof of the mouth propels the bolus into the oropharynx, the entrance to the pharyngeal phase. The pharyngoesophageal phase is involuntarily controlled. This phase is triggered when the bolus enters the oropharynx, stimulating sensory receptors and initiating the swallowing reflex. The soft palate elevates to seal off the nasopharynx, preventing food from entering the nasal cavity. Simultaneously, the larynx elevates, and the epiglottis folds to cover the trachea, ensuring the bolus doesn't enter the respiratory pathways.